Welcome to Time of Death. This video is for informational purposes and in no way meant to glorify or condone violence. In today's video, we'll be discussing the murder of Arturo Segura. Segura was shot and killed on Friday, May 7, 2010, in the 5800 block of South Main Street in the Florence neighborhood of South LA, according to LA County coroner records. Lorenzo Davis was subsequently arrested and charged with the murder. The following is the evidence at trial. On May 7, 2010, Florence, Pineda, and victim Arturo Segura walked to a liquor store near South Main Street in Los Angeles. An African-American man driving a red-colored four-door Pontiac shouted at the three men to get off the street. There were no passengers in the vehicle. The driver identified himself as an East Coast Crip gang member, made a derogatory comment about a rival gang, and asked the three men if they were from the rival gang. Flores and his companions replied they were not gang members and were there to buy beer. The driver stopped his vehicle and threatened to shoot the men. He reached under his shirt near his belt as though he had a firearm but never produced one. Flores testified that the driver had his hand under his shirt and was holding his belt pretending that he had a gun. Flores and his companions ignored the driver and continued to walk to the liquor store. Flores and his friends purchased beer at the liquor store and walked toward home. The driver of the red Pontiac returned, this time with a front seat and rear seat passenger. Flores could not see or describe the front seat passenger. Flores and his friends ran through a hospital parking lot. The driver of the Pontiac followed and the rear seat passenger left the vehicle. He was wearing gloves and held the firearm. As Flores was running, he heard more than 4 or 5 gunshots, some whizzing by his head. He thought the bullets were fired from a single firearm. Flores turned around and saw that victim Segura had been shot. Flores turned back to help the victim, but saw the rear seat passenger run toward him. Flores was pretty sure that the rear seat passenger was still armed. Flores feared that he would be shot and therefore ran towards the hospital entrance. The rear seat passenger approached the victim and punched and kicked him as he lay on the ground. The passenger then returned to the red Pontiac rear seat and the driver drove away. Flores called for police assistance and officers soon arrived. They located and detained defendant based upon Flores' description of the shooter's clothing. When placed in the patrol vehicle, defendant asked if this was about a shooting or something. In a field show-up and again at the preliminary hearing, Flores identified defendant as the shooter. He was certain that defendant was the guy. Defendant, who was 16 years old at the time of the murder, was charged as an adult. On November 21, 2011, defendant pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter and 2 counts of assault with a firearm. He also admitted that he personally used the firearm and committed the crimes for the benefit of a criminal street gang. He did not admit, however, that he was the sole or actual shooter or admit to the legal theory or theories upon which the conviction rested. Pursuant to the plea agreement, the court imposed a prison sentence of 35 years. Arturo Segura was 20 years old at the time of death.